I mean, we're actually speaking about the office earlier today, noting that we're all in lockdown for 4 or 5 months and time was fucking going slow and we were on the cans every night because that's what you fucking do when you're bored, you can't go anywhere. But I'm like, upon reflection, the year has gone super fast. Absolutely, it has.
We've already had this. So, Ken Herman, you've been displaced from the number one.
Legend. How good? Tell us how good it feels, Sam, to bloody see some real-time action out on your block. And here's the great thing. We don't have to drive out there and go and see it. You're allowing us to see it. We're seeing it through your eyes because your bloody social media just lights up with stuff all the time.
Absolutely. Mate, I tell you, you're like, oh, so what you do at night when you got nothing better to do is you sit down and have a few cans. I'm like, mate, when you've got a young family, I can assure you there's no sitting down at night having a few cans. I was like, sweet, James and Margaret are in bed. I'll see you later. I'm going straight to bed as well.
Yes.
I was catching up on the Z's from that perspective. So
have a look at this, Dan. Kent Herman's like number 7 down the list. Mate, either you're slipping or we're slipping in your eyes. I don't know what's worse, but let's get that fixed up, please. Chris Phillips, what's up?
There he is. He's the man himself. Bloody Tammy Turner, MA 15 plus. Sorry about that.
Yes. I've got to start doing this. My mum reminded me about 3 years ago when I started not to fucking swear too much. So sorry again, Mum. If you're watching this with your kids in close proximity, Nate, again, good to see you, brother. Oh, no, sorry, I can't see you. You can see me. I'll try not to swear as much this time. I don't even realise I'm doing it. I just emphasise shit and I get on a bit of a Robbie Red and it just fucking comes out like that, right? So I apologise. Who else we got with us? Dean Tanner, my man. I love bloody having a chat to you today. You and Hannah are bloody superstars. Will Grigor from over in Perth. Tim McGregor's online as well. Mr. Herman spoke about already. Sammy Wynn reckons it's freaking amazing to have some action out on our block at the moment, and we are so happy that you guys are going to bloody build a wonderful house there. James with us, Will's with us, Kelly Marie, Kent, RT Internet. Oh, it's not the internet, it's the RT Internet.
There we go.
Good answer, my man. Good answer. And
Adam, we're rolling international, which is really, really good.
Yes, we are. Hope things are not too hot and heavy in the cold over in the Middle East, my man. Yeah. Stop swearing, for fuck's sake. All right. Hey, Dane, what a wonderful week you've had, buddy. I know you've been really starting to get your teeth sunk into, speaking to a few clients live online as you sort of, come in and build that 13 for us next year. As Dan and I promised you when you sort of started the transition from the property specialist role, which I know you loved so much, how you feeling? Yeah. How you feeling sort of being part of the front end and like what Dan and I have been doing for a few years, putting together the strategy, peeling back the onion layers, getting to know the clients right from the very start?
Mate, it's a different, I guess it's a different level of euphoria that you do feel doing that, because you're definitely getting someone at that sort of like, what do I do stage? Yeah. So I think shaping that has its own sort of, I don't know, it is a different feeling of, of good, getting someone there, whereas the property is the tangible thing. And, because I love property, obviously I get a little bit of FOMO when I go through and I have property packs. I'm like, oh, how good's this one? Oh, Dan, I might buy this one myself. So I'm sort of missing that a little bit.
I get one of those phone calls every day, mate. Every single afternoon, he's like, Dan, have you got 5 minutes? So I ring him and he's like, so I was looking at this property and I'm like, yeah, like, I might buy it. And I'm like, how many properties are you buying this year, mate?
You just finished buying your own home. Down here on the Goldie.
Accumulation, mate. I'm in the accumulation phase.
You are.
I mean, you're absolutely right, Dane, because like at the end of the day, it is so amazing to go out there and find those very best properties for people. And you're like, holy shit, this is amazing. I can't wait to show X, Y, and Z what this property looks like, that I've been on the hunt for them for like bloody months in some cases, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And you finally get to that point and you're like, have a look at this sucker that's just come through. I'm going to like blow someone's socks off with this. Because it's an amazing feeling that you sort of got there. But yeah, it just takes it to another level, mate, when you're sort of taking them through the coaching, because like you're blowing their socks off for the rest of their life from that perspective.
Yeah, I guess like it's the mentality change, where you're taking someone who, like, they might have come with not having finance education or anything like that, and you're coming in, showing them the way and reshaping them from that perspective, which I love. Like, it is different sort of euphoria. I get, yes, like I said, I feel like I miss out a little bit when I hear about the properties getting thrown around the office. I'm like, oh, what? How come I'm not CC'd on that? I should be, so I get a bit of that, but it's slowly transitioning out.
All in good time. As you said a few times, Dan, I'm the only one that gets CC'd on everything from a property and EOI and sort of success package perspective. So, yeah, all in good time, Dan. It's coming your way, buddy, for sure. Now, a couple of quick shout-outs. We've got a couple of people in isolation. So, Mr. Benny Hansel, great to speak to you during the week, mate. Speaking of properties and speaking of EOIs, we're putting the final touches together right now on that banging property for the second one for you and Cinda, which I know you're waiting to have come your way. And we've also got Miss Hayley Neville, who's get out of ISO tomorrow morning. How good's it going to feel at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, knocking on the door going, "Oi, Mr. Security Guard, I'm fucking out of here." And he comes and gets you, and you go walking down the bloody hallway, and then, yeah, someone will be there to pick you up, buddy. And, yeah, we're going to catch up sooner rather than later. She's going to be our ninth veteran coming actually sitting in the office, which, what a
bloody amazing. Hey, Wendy Missingham, see you there, mate. Evening. Looking forward to our coaching session tomorrow. Mate, just type in the chat there because, Wendy, you've been following us for years, mate. I know that in the background. You've been like the silent assassin in the background there doing some stuff. Just, I suppose, what the biggest thing for you is, what are you looking forward to the most about the coaching session, though? Like, what is the thing that you can't wait to occur tomorrow when we do? We're going to sit down for a couple of hours with you, mate. I want to, you tell the world, what's the biggest thing you can't wait for?
Yeah, so good. Gordon Spooner's listening in. Huey Allen just said, by the way, Kelly's out for dinner and still sneaks on whilst I'm home alone. Hey, gents. And yeah, Kelly's like, "Oh, how you going?" So you're out to dinner and you still want to, like, what are you doing, mate? Putting me there next to the bloody, next to the sugar holder.
You're up beside
the sugar holder?
Yeah, I was going to say, you set yourself up beside the salt and pepper shakers on the table, mate. Bloody, no worries, guys. Have an enlightening evening. I can't wait to have a good chat with all these people in the social.
What about last week?
Listen to Robbie Turner.
Yeah, exactly? What about last week? Oh, it's not the Robbie show. I love having you guys with me, my two other musketeers. What about last week? CJ's at the State of Origin at Lang Park, and we're waiting for the bloody kickoff, and he's sitting there watching us on the big screen.
I'll tell you what, though, wasn't that a bloody I'm glad we finished the session early last week. So I sit down. I'm like, I'm watching the footy. I'll speak to everyone else tomorrow. And I'll tell you what, I was bloody impressed with the Queenslanders coming through with the win. So, I mean, I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that are disappointed that New South Wales lost. Matt, if you're listening, that's you. But,
that is you. I
mean, at the end of the day, the old master Wayne Bennett got everyone over the line from that perspective. So it was a bloody good show that night.
And you guys saw me on our little internal Skype chat. I used to peacock the shit out of everything in my life back in the day. And Matt's fucking hanging up all the bloody, jerseys in the office. And I'm like, careful what you wish for, buddy. And sure enough, nothing happened. And he came in pretty bloody meek the next morning, I've got to say. He's like, "Hey, guys." I'm like, sucked in, mate. Take those fucking jerseys off the window. Don't do it next year.
It's good. It's good to be loud and proud about something that you're passionate about, though.
I wonder when I'm going to find that.
What, you being loud?
Oh, yeah.
I've been passionate about something.
Over passionate.
Oh, so good, so good. CJ, had a great session with Jace Cosgrove. You guys totally nailed it on the clarity. Oh, dude, you're the second person who said that to me today. Like, when you have a chance to speak to Jace Cosgrove about those three questions, how much salary you want to be on when you're not working anymore, what net worth do you need to attain, and are you on track? CJ, like, everyone who gets to speak to Jace just gets taken to the next level, man. So it doesn't surprise me that you guys have had a fantastic chat with him as well. It was awesome to be there watching it. Yeah,
I was having a chat to one of our clients today who went and saw the game, actually, and I found out, this is just a little 1%, right? Within like a couple of hours, Jace has found a way to redirect and save them $4,000 a year from a tax perspective. Whew. So it's redirecting funds into the right locations to be able to make things work for them in the long term as well. So, I mean, I don't know if anyone else would like $4,000 an extra year in their back pocket, but obviously these people had some very specific circumstances that they needed to tweak in order to give them the greatest long-term results. I'll tell you what, for a few hours work, I'd do that every single day of the week.
For sure. There's another little ISO. So we've got three little ISO stories. I got contacted today. Someone sent me a message. The lovely Alicia. And she's like, hey guys, I just said it. So I just said a little email. It's like, hey guys, just coming through the normal website. I'll go again. Hey guys, something like that anyway. Hey guys, I just had a chat to one of my work colleagues who was using Axon. I've got no idea about money and financial direction, etc., etc. I've recently just built a house and now I'm getting posted down to Ambly. Where do I go from here, sort of thing? And I'm like, hey buddy, it's Robbie here from Axon. This is like 18 minutes after she sent the email. She goes, hey, I'm in ISO. I'm just doing my bloody daily exercise. I'm like, right, call me back. Anyway, we connected like an hour later. I said, mate, who's your mate that sort of spoke to you about, where you're at? She goes, oh, this person here. I'm like, but that means you're in Townsville. She goes, yeah, I'm posted to Townsville. I'm like, you said you recently built a house. She goes, yeah, I just built a house in one of the brand new estates. I'm like, oh, fuck. I said, all right, I'll have a chat to you, no dramas. So we went down that roll and Damo rolled over and come and gave her a bit of a chat. I said, listen, mate, she goes, I watched the heavy videos online. I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed at the moment. So we broke all that down. Anyway, I said, hey, buddy, go ahead and watch this, buddy, just to overwhelm me with more. Go and watch a 90-minute video of us, buddy, doing our stuff. And I'll try and hold it up so you guys can see. About 15 minutes later, she sent through that image. She's like, Axon Property Group, buying a property gives you the choice that you don't have to work anymore, which I thought was absolutely freaking amazing. Sure enough, I said, look, follow the bouncy ball towards the back end. She, an hour and a half later, discovery session book. She's like, I'm keen, definitely kicking myself for not seeing this before I built. But as a mate said, you can't live with regrets. Let's see what the future holds. So, yeah, like Dane, back to your point, my man, isn't it phenomenal when you said people think differently about things from a mindset perspective? As a quick little reminder, ladies and gents, if you're just discovering us, I call the business Axon for a reason. Axon's a part of your neurotransmission system, your mindset and your approach to debt and your approach to money. She goes, oh, I've got this couple of $100,000 of debt on my property. I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter, mate, because you've got someone that's this is exactly what I said to her. It doesn't fucking matter because you've now got a tenant who's going to pay the mortgage off for you. She goes, yeah, the rent's going to cover the mortgage. I'm like, and you're going to get a tax return because then you're going to switch it into an investment property and all those expenses are going to be claimable on your tax. She's like, really? I'm like, yep. I said, so don't worry about being in debt. And then I told her the differences between good debt and bad debt, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, it was a cracking call. And now I've got another fan and, yeah, she's bloody stoked. So, happy days. I love that part of the job. I was literally on a high for the rest of the afternoon.
Buddy, chomping at the bit, mate. What you were just talking about there, mate, reminds me of some of the stuff that I've really been going through over the last few weeks because we're in posting season time, right?
Yes.
So there's lots of people who are like, hey, this is awesome. I've been posted away. I've been living in the house that I've bought or built myself over the last 3 years. I'm now posting away. So I'm going to turn that into an investment property. And let's say I'm going to go to Canberra, for example, right? So I've spoken to maybe 3 or 4 of these people and I've actually come up with 4 massive mistakes that all of these people are pretty much making, right?
Do tell.
So mistake number 1, shift house structures from a finance perspective. Right. So all of these people in almost every circumstance, they're like, yeah, I've got my loans. And I'm like, sweet, what's your interest rate? And they're like, 3.5% or something like that. I'm like, fail. Go speak to the bank. Every single owner-occupier that I'm coming across at the moment should be in the ballpark of, I don't know, around about 2%, 2.19 or a 1.99% from an interest rate perspective. So if you're not getting that at the moment, that's first mistake from that perspective.
Can I just make a point quickly?
Jump in.
Just to stress, that is owner-occupiers only. So all you people with an investment loan going, where's my fucking 2% loan? Just relax. It's not for investors.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The second one, though, is people are thinking they're going to manage the rental by themselves, right?
Oh, that chestnut.
And they're like, no worries, I'm going to find my own tenant and they're going to move in 3 days after I leave and they're going to look after the place. It's going to be amazing. Rental management does not just consist of you getting a paycheck every single week. Like that's like one of about 10 things that your rental manager should be doing for you as well.
Yeah.
Like when you've transitioned out of living in your own home and you're transitioning to this being an investment property, you need to kick things up a gear and you need to start being professional about this because at the end of the day, you're a landlord providing a service to a tenant. It's not like, hey, I'm providing a tenancy to old mate down the road and he's going to love me forever. Because as soon as something goes wrong, you become the mediator. You become the person at the tribunal. You become the person who needs to know everything about the RTA. Wow. You need to go and start paying for damages. Like all of that shit now.
Inspections. Routine inspections.
Like absolutely.
Trying to kick them out.
Maintenance.
If you get a bad tenant, imagine doing that.
It's absolutely phenomenal. So I'm talking to every single person that is like sitting there ambiently in the background going, I'm posting away. I've got a house. Someone else is going to move into it. Do not do your own rental management.
One way to lose a fucking mate quickly is to have your mate go and live in your house for you. And then, like, if he gets in a little bit, he or she gets in a bit of financial stress, you're like, it's all right, mate. Just what? Next fortnight's fine. And that fucking avalanche starts to steamroll, and then you're contributing to that financial stress of that person by not fucking holding to account to have a roof over their head like every other human has.
Absolutely.
Their fees are peanuts as well.
They're fuck all.
They're peanuts, and they're a tax deduction.
Yeah.
Like, why go through that stress?
It's like,
It blows my mind when I hear that. I'll benefit myself. I'm like, sweet. Have an awesome experience, mate, because you know fuck all about doing that. Wait later and say, we're not paying rent, mate. What are you going to do?
Exactly. And, James jumped in there, our amazing build support manager, who's been a property manager herself. Never manage your own property, OMG. Property managers are paid to deal with unexpected problems that may arise. 100%. Go for it, Dan. What's the third one?
The third one is, as you sort of alluded to, RT, when you become an investor, you need a depreciation report, because if you're the owner of that property, you're able to claim the depreciation or an on-paper loss for that property as it depreciates in value over a period of time. If you're the very first owner of that property, you can claim both the fixtures and the fittings and the superstructure of the house. But if you're even the second owner of that property, then you need to be able to just accept the fact that you're just going to be able to claim the superstructure of the house from that perspective as well. But that's still like in the ballpark of thousands of dollars every single year that you can claim back at the end of the financial year from a tax perspective.
For 40 years.
For
40 years.
Yeah.
Like,
so,
if you're...
Yeah. It's one of those things.
Keep going, Dan.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, unfortunately, if you live in a 120-year-old Queenslander, you might be just outside of the window from that. But yeah, mate, like 40 years worth of depreciation there. Yeah. Sort of saying, Dan.
And here's the thing, no money has to leave your bank account for you to be able to claim that. It's an on-paper deduction from a depreciation report. So please, ladies and gents, if you don't have a depreciation report for your own home you're about to move out of, just contact us and we'll organise it for you. It's a fucking quick little referral off to someone that we don't have a commercial relationship with, and we get it at half price and the savings go straight to you. So we'll just make it happen for you. What's the last one, bud? I'm loving these little 4 tips. These is gold.
This is a big one for me. This is what I'm the most passionate about, because it sort of leverages off what I speak to every single client about, right? You have now, in this circumstance, you've now likely just moved away from paying your own mortgage to paying a 50% rental. So you might be like, if it would have been a $500 a week house, you might be only paying $250 towards it. I'm just...
How's that? Just explain that for us. What? Just so we're crystal clear.
Because your tenants are paying off your mortgage for you.
Got it.
If you've done it right, your tenants are looking after that sucker over there now. So that's all good. Don't worry about that one anymore. So you move away from your property, you move into an RA or a married quarter or a living unit, whatever it is,
yes.
And all of a sudden, half your rent gets covered by the Defence Force.
How good?
Mate, paying market rent sucks. So yes, how amazing is that? So the idea behind this is every single dollar that you would have previously been pushing towards that that mortgage should now be getting redirected into doing something that propels you forward. So if you're in the ballpark of getting $250 extra from an RA perspective every single week from the Defence Force, that doesn't mean that you're just like, sweet, $250 extra each week to go out to dinner with my lovely wife. That $1,000 a month, 250 times by 4, needs to start being directed towards you creating wealth in your life. If you don't do that, you're absolutely missing a trick, because a wise man once said to me, if you're not moving forward, if you're standing still, you're moving backwards.
Because life is binary. There's you're either moving forwards or backwards. If everyone else is moving forwards and you're standing still, guess what? Yeah. You're going backwards. I don't know. That is a fucking great saying. I didn't even make that up. I might have said it to you, but I did not make it up. Full disclaimer.
Yeah. But Dan, you and I speak about this all the time, like the amount of a head start you get when you're in the Defence Force, right?
Yeah.
Because
it's such a competitive advantage, right? Like, we do every day. I think at least at one point during the day, I'll turn to Dan and say, how fucking good was RA? Like, how good is it? And we spoke to someone today, Dan, actually, and we sort of shaping that, where she just spends And if I got something left over, I save it. And I was like, you've got that around the wrong way. I said you save first, and then what you live off is what's remaining. That's your budget. So like you said, Dan, if you're there and you're only paying $250 RA, but you were paying $450, for your mortgage, now you got someone paying that sucker off. That $200, it's not like, oh, sweet, I've got $200, like you said, and you just go off and just spend it. Get used to putting that in. It's only going to improve your position for when you go for that next property. The drip feed effect, we used to say, just little bits, little bits, little bits, little bits, and you'll be surprised how much that will grow over time.
So good. Yeah.
We just, I'll just put it forward, over a 2-year posting, all of a sudden you've got $25,000 extra in your back pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's bloody phenomenal. And I guarantee you there's people who are sitting there watching us tonight who are like, I've got a friend that's doing that. I'm going to do this, or I've heard of someone who has got their own home, they're posting away. And you know what? They're probably talking about doing that stuff too. So you don't need to stop. You don't need to type their names into the chat right now.
And tag them.
Go and watch
Later, just tag them in.
You can tell them about this stuff later, or you can just whisper it in their ear. It's like, do not make one of these 4 mistakes that many people are out there doing right at this point in time.
Mate, great advice, buddy. That's well, I haven't read that in any book. You've literally that's come from the loins of the conversations and the stuff that you creating.
I was literally driving to work the other day. I'm like, why are people doing all this stupid shit? And then I was like, you know what? Because nobody's telling them not to do that. Nobody sits there and goes, hey, now that you've bought a property and you're turning it into an investment property, you need to get a depreciation report. You need to get a rental manager. You need to restructure things. Like, no one's telling you need to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
You actually just need to go out there and learn it by practicing and being inside part of that world for the rest of your life. So
Benny Hansen, I'm probably the only person that knows what that even means. Good gouge, but that means it's fucking good info coming your way. Awesome. Hey, couple of little advertisements. If I can just take a quick break for a second. We had an amazing email that came in at 10:55 this morning. We'll certainly forward it. That 9:24, but forwarded to me at 10:55. G'day team. My name is Karen. Last name withheld. I'm a petty officer boatswain on one of the big HMAS ships. Last name withheld. And I'd like to post your flyers around the ship and around the base. And we basically went through background through the sort of the database there. And Mr. Karen, last name withheld, is not one of our clients. He's one of these people in the background, Dan, that you mention every week, who's no doubt bloody following all of our stuff. And it's just so fantastic that someone now wants to almost put their own reputation on the line and go, boys and girls at Axon, send me one of those awesome flyers that we spoke about last week. Basically got, all of us up there, who we are, what we do, quick little QR code, and bang, you can go ahead and watch that training. The training I spoke about half an hour ago when I sent it to the lovely Alicia, and her fucking literally whole life is now going to change based on information that she wasn't taught at school, and she's certainly not fucking spoken about, during the yearly mandatory training. So that's pretty cool. So, once again, ladies and gents, as sort of Noah's putting in it now, send an email to Noah to get the Axon flyers sent to they're all done. They're all been, full on graphically designed. We got the first prototype delivered to us today, and the girls went and printed it down at bloody Office Works there. And it's on high quality paper, and it looks bloody mint. So yeah, top job, ladies, in the marketing department there. And here's the thing: before COVID, I'd never used the QR code. Now, everyone knows how to use the QR code because no one gets into fucking anywhere without doing it, right? So it's pretty simple. You get your phone out, you point and shoot, and hey presto, you go to a website. So that's how easy it is. We've made it super, super simple for you. The next little bit, and it's like a bit of a 5-minute warning. So please, ladies and gents, if you've been watching us in the background, drop everything and come and join us because we have a wonderful special guest about to join us. The wonderful Natalie is going to come and join us in about 5 minutes' time. She's been shitting herself all morning. She was there super early in the office today. I said, hey, Nat, how you going? She's like, won't lie to you, I'm shitting myself about tonight. I said, mate, there's nothing to be shitting yourself about. Don't worry. No. Natalie has not been on yet, Julie.
Yeah, I was going to say, mate, she's already got a fan club. Her fan club's like, where's Nat? Bring her. Wait.
We've got 5 minutes. So I'm giving you a 5-minute warning to get for Natalie to maybe finish your glass of wine if that's what you're doing. And she's going to come and join us, and you guys are going to be blown away by her story, blown away by who she is, blown away by how much she loves helping veterans and how fucking awesome she is at her job. So I can't wait to share that with you, which is really, really cool.
For those of you, as we're going through it, obviously, like, Nat's not just here to talk to you. Like, she wants to hear your questions so she can take it deeper and deeper and deeper. So literally just sit there and hey, let's go ahead and buddy ask her whatever questions you want to ask her from that perspective.
Yeah. So just as a heads up, like Nat is the assistant to Jane in our build support function. She's basically the puppet master or the project manager from land settlement all the way through to finding tenants and all the other stuff that goes with it. So anything you want to know about building a house, any technical question, Nat's loving this right now. Try and think of the most technical question you possibly can, and that's going to answer it for you on the spot because she knows exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah. Or just ask her any random question you want to, like you're allowed to do with us.
Yeah, you can.
We'll talk about it. If we've got 4 minutes up our sleeve, let's just take 60 seconds each, I suppose. RT, I'll throw to you. What's been your highlight of the week so far, or since last week?
I've had the opportunity to invite 5 clients since last week to come along and be part of our success package. And here we are at the end of November, apparently approaching wind down when no one wants to think about doing shit and they worry about their bloody New Year's Eve resolution down the track. And I just feel so great at the moment that there are people that are still motivated, people that want to do stuff, people that want to put a plan in place and be coached and guided along the way to buy a property next year because all the land's sold out right now. But they're like, this is the little thing I'm talking about. Let's set the ambush this year. Let's take care of the paperwork and teach you about the process, teach you about the risks, and let's identify the location about where this property is going to be. We can set the ambush. So come January, February next year, when they do start to release a little bit of land, in some instances, bang, you're just lying there in wait, nice and silent, working with us, who get access to blocks before the bloody public do, and bang, we go and snap one off the market for you, put the package together, and it's yours. It's so valuable, and people have been really, really appreciative of that.
So that means we've had nine new either couples or individuals join our Axon family over the last little while.
7 days.
Over the last sort of 7 days there. So I know that there's a lot of people in there that probably are watching tonight. So I just want to take the opportunity to say welcome to the Axon family. If I haven't already done so myself, but it's great to have you here as part of the team and going through the journey with you as well and sharing.
Look at that, Dean, straight away, 100%. He's on board, mate. So it's so good. I love it. What about you, bud? What's been your highlight?
Oh shit. You know what? I had a great young couple that are down from up in Darwin.
Yes.
So down in southeast Queensland last week. We literally delayed their coaching session by about 2 weeks so that we could do the first session face to face. A really young couple, sort of got the world at their feet from that perspective. But I'm not going to lie, we probably only got about 50% of the way through the coaching session because we just went really deep on a lot of different concepts that were going on in the background. So different things like mum and dad having an opinion, and mum's opinion conflicts with dad's opinion, which doesn't necessarily align with what Axon does, and things like that. So when mum and dad don't have their shit together and they're at cross paths and everything like that, I don't necessarily try to get into that conversation, but we spoke about it because that's a very challenging thing for a young couple of 20-something years of age to be overcoming what their parents' preconceived ideas are, to be this is what you must do with your life. Because parents are stuck in the 80s and stuff like that. And it's this is how you do it. You buy a property, pay it off over 30 years, no one can take it away. You've heard it all before, right?
Yes.
So I had an absolute ripper session with those guys where we just sat down and spoke about how all of that stuff still exists in the world. And so yes, we did some coaching and we've got a plan that we're working with those guys towards. But it was great to have such an awesome young couple in the office to be able to do some face-to-face engagement from the other part of Australia. So that was amazing.
So good. Great one. Dane, what about you, mate? What's been your highlight over the last 7 days? 60 seconds.
I'll keep it I'll do it in 50. So I've got mine's going to be internal. I'm going to put that in there. So we've had the great James Wilkinson who passed his probation today. So,
there you go.
And I know I can talk about, there's clients and we had great experiences, but he has been an awesome fit, and I know he's just very, very valued at work. And, mate, we value you. So I just want to give him a shout-out. He's an avid supporter, has been a client, has transitioning out of the military into Axon, which is pretty much the military in itself. But it's just great to have him a part of the team, mate. So I'm going to give him a shout-out. It's been a real highlight, just having another awesome fit, another GC who's now living on the GC.
GC on the GC. Interestingly, we actually gave his wife, Caitlin, as you guys have all seen before. They did an awesome little sort of interview with us. we gave her the full experience by having her end of build coaching session hot washed with me this afternoon. So yeah, it was really, really good. And yeah, they're stoked.
Big days for the Wilcos. So that's good. And I mean, like, I'll throw a big shout out and a big thank you to Robbie and Tammy. I've been asking for like an intelligence NCO for like 2.5 years. I'm like, I can't wait. You need to. Then when we recruit,
I'm not like
intelligence NCO. This is what I want. And finally, we've got one. So thank you very much, guys.
That's because your wife is an ex-intelligence officer, which is fantastic as well. All right. Dane Roche, I agree. James Wilkins was such a huge part of our team. Fantastic. Ladies and gents, it gives me absolute pleasure to introduce this lady. She's not just an amazing team member here at Axon. She's a friend of mine and Tamara's outside of work. She actually has been pestering us for a job for, if I said 2 years, I'm probably understating it. And I was just like, nah, you're a friend of mine. Don't want to mix friends and pleasure and business and blah, 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 blah. And it basically got business and pleasure. And it got to a point where we'd had too many beers. I think it might have been after an Anzac Day even last year. And she just whispered in my ear. She's like, just let me remind you, I'm a veteran as well, you know. I went, fuck, you're an awesome chick. You're a great communicator. I know you've got a great background, which we'll go through very, very shortly. And I basically went to Tamara. I'm like, you know what? I'm comfortable now that we're in need of someone to come and fill a gap for us. Nat's been pestering me enough and long enough. I want to basically bring her on board. Tammy, are you comfortable with that? So, yeah, Nat, please come and join us on the screen. Noah, make that happen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the amazing Natalie. You. Hello. G'day. How are you?
She's on mute.
We can't hear you yet. Noah should take care of that. We still can't hear you. Oh,
there we go. How's that?
Yes.
Hey, that's how that's
technical issues.
How are you, buddy? I know you've been listening to us there for the last half an hour. It's pretty easy, isn't it?
I have been listening to you draw off, but that's a daily occurrence for me. You know, that's what
you're the build support manager for the people in my team. So you and I literally talk every day, don't we?
We do. It's constant communication, but that's the way it is for everybody anyway. So. And that's what I like. So I'd rather be in good comms with everybody than not be. So yeah.
Of course. Was my little rendition there about the conversations we've had over the last couple of years to sort of have you come on board? It's pretty accurate, give or take, I hope.
It was actually 2 Anzac days, I've just got to remind you. And I'm standing there with my gongs on as well. And I'm like, Robbie, I was in the Navy. Do you forget? I was actually, like, I'm a veteran as well. Let me work for you. And you're like, no, I can't do it. Can't, mix pleasure with friends. How about that? I had to remind you for so long. I'm like, please. And look, do you know why? The reason I was bugging you for so long is that I knew you guys when you started Axon. And I got to see you guys create this monster, which I knew which was going to be huge. And I was just being patient, going, when my time will come, it'll come. Yeah. But without a doubt, I just wanted to be a part of it. So it's paid off, and here I am.
Yeah, so good. My mum, Margaret's on like, hey, Natalie, and then Brett Campbell, making the boys look good. Bretty Campbell, you are absolutely right, mate. It's a great thing about having, what do we got? 13 team members, 6 of which are female. So that's yes, the estrogen influence in the office is going nuts at the moment. I absolutely love it. Buddy, tell us about your background. So just give everyone a bit of a 3 or 4 minute spiel about your military, your transition, couple of things that you've done from an entrepreneurial sense since then. Like allow people to get to know you a bit more.
Okay, it's a mixed bag, really. I have quite a diverse resume. When I actually sit down and think about all the different industries that I've worked in and the different qualifications that I've gained along the way, makes me seem older than I am. Just going to let you know, but yeah. So I joined the Navy when I was 19. I knew pretty early on that I didn't want to. Sorry, Mum, I know you're watching. Didn't want to stay in a small town of Coffs Harbour where I was living at the time, and I had my sights set on travelling and doing great things. So a great friend of ours that lived across the road, he is a Vietnam vet.
Right.
And many conversations with him, and one day he just looked at me and he's like, Nat, join the Navy. And I was like, okay. So I just went and did the recruiting conversation. Daniel, like this, I was going to actually go for the Air Force at one stage.
Nice.
But I failed the aptitude testing, thank God. And went the other.
People do, mate. Plenty of people do. Right.
But yeah, 5 years in the Navy. I was really lucky. I commissioned HMAS Parramatta. And to this day, it's probably the best crew I ever served with. Had a great time.
Can I just stop there? Like, Nat, tell people a bit, because just tell people what you did on that ship. And I know you've told that, like, from a leadership perspective, you had an amazing boss on that ship that had a really great influence on you, didn't he?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to work with the Chief of Navy. Well, he was Captain Noonan at the time, and he is just such an amazing man. I was lucky enough that I was hand-plucked from HMAS Watson's wardroom. So I was a steward, and I was just working in there one day and having a good chat with him. He was having a glass of wine, and we're having a chat. And he was like, where do you want to go from here? And I was literally like a month out of recruit school. And I was like, I don't know. I'm just kind of happy staying here. And he's like, do you want to join a ship? And I'm like, what ship? I'm not ready for this. And he's like, why don't you come down to Melbourne and join HMAS Parramatta? And I was like, I would love nothing more. So, yeah, I was so lucky to work with him. He is just the kindest, loveliest man, obviously rules with an iron fist, but a great leader. He's fantastic. And hence why he's in the role he's in. So
what year did you transition, mate? Give us a bit of an idea about how long ago that was.
Yeah, so I joined in 2002. So now I'm showing my age. I joined in 2002 and left in 2007. So I did 5 years.
Great.
And really the reason I left is, and I don't want to toot my own horn here, is I just got made up to a Kellic super quick. So I made leading seaman in the minimum. So I think it was just over 4 years. And then I posted on to Newcastle, so HMAS Newcastle, and I figured it out pretty quickly that career-wise, I was going to get stuck in that role for ages.
Yeah, nice.
There was going to be 3 or 4 years.
Bigger and better things coming for you, mate. Yep.
Pardon?
Bigger and better things coming for you, you felt, yeah?
Yeah, I just felt like I transitioned so quickly into that rank, and I just knew I'd be 4 or 5 years as a leading seaman, and to be a PO, I was like, I kind of did what I wanted to do. And I was like, well, I'll get out. So I went and worked in events marketing. So I did that for, I think it was like 8 or 9 years down in Sydney. And then, moved to the Gold Coast about 9 years ago now. Yep.
And then I understand you've also sort of dipped your toe in the property space and in the mortgage broking space, et cetera, et cetera.
So I was really lucky. I actually started up a company similar to Axon quite a few years ago. And then I was working in the events marketing kind of space for that as well. And then the opportunity came up that we needed someone to start looking after our clients. So having also a military background, I knew that our clients could service the debt. They had a great deposit. They could service the debt. Yet the mortgage brokers that we were using at the time just weren't getting the deals done. Yeah. And I know the amount of education and the level of trust that our clients put in us. It's a very similar situation to actually want to buy a property and then to have it fall over in finance. I just one day I was like, I'm going to be a mortgage broker. Like, what course do I have to do to go be a mortgage broker? So I did it for 3 years. And then most recently I worked at Westpac.
Fantastic.
So I was just a personal banker at Westpac. And then, over that time I hassled you for a job and here I am.
And tell me, I know you did, absolutely. So I remember you'd been at the office for only a couple of weeks, actually very, very, very short period of time. And then, of course, COVID hit. So you had to learn your job from home, one of the, thousands and thousands of people across Australia which have done that. So, you speaking on a Zoom call has, been happening virtually every day. Just tell everyone, like, from a culture and workplace sort of vibe perspective, coming from the bank into like what you now know, sort of the Axon office there, what were the main differences that you experienced and continue to not only experience but very much contribute yourself now?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting time. So I'm going to have to correct you, Robbie, but when I first worked for Axon, I didn't come into the office for the first 6 weeks.
Oh, shit.
So I came into the office for one meeting with Dan and Jane because I obviously hadn't met them yet.
Right.
And then the week after or 2 weeks notice or whatever I had to give Westpac.
Love it.
I literally started working from home. But I've got to say, when I left the bank, and the reason that it's not a culture fit for me is firstly, I'm a bit of a swearer as well. I'm not that, clean cut. I tell jokes every now and again. I've always got funny stories to tell, and in the banking world, they're just not my people. So I knew straight away that I'm like in this robot environment, and I'm just trying to like hold myself in, having to restrain myself, knowing that if I told them a quarter of my real life stories, I would probably get done for like equity and diversity or something.
Don't do that. Your mum's online. It's all right. We won't do that.
So I was like, not for me. But it was really scary times because it was just as COVID was starting to kick in. And obviously with banks, it's very different world. Like for our clients, COVID and lowering interest rates, awesome, fantastic for us because we're the younger generation. But I'm dealing with, 70, 80-year-olds that paid 18% on their home loan, and now I'm giving them 0.5% on a term deposit. So when we say about, different saving strategies and how you save your money, it was a complete reverse role because I'm giving bad information to people.
Yeah.
And it was pretty dire. And also because we didn't really know what COVID was, people are coming in demanding $100,000 worth of cash. And they're like standing at the teller demanding at us saying, it's my money, give me my money. And I'm like,
the banks, yeah.
If all people came in and demanded $100,000, the bank would run out of cash pretty quick. So kind of putting the limitation on people on what they can take out of their own bank account was pretty scary too. So look, it wasn't a great time to be in the bank. And then because a lot of those people, work in the bank for such a long period of time, here I am putting in my 2 weeks notice and saying, oh, yep, I'm out of here. And they're looking at me going, you're mad.
You're going to go and join a small to medium enterprise with 10 other people. Like you're going to leave a really secure job. I remember you sort of formally writing to our general manager, my wife Tamara. And what did you say in that little note to her?
I think I'd watched A Current Affair, so just don't do that. And then it was like, the world is coming to an end. No one, everyone stay indoors. And I just had to message Tammy, and I was like, look, friend chat, because we have to put our different hats on. We do the GM and the friend chat. And I said, look, friend chat, is Axon going to be okay? Like if I leave my job, not just for my own security, like, are we going to be okay? And she wrote back and she's like, don't be ridiculous. If we thought it was bad timing, we wouldn't bring you on. Like we wouldn't jeopardize your future because I'm a single mom with 2 kids.
Wow.
So she's like, we wouldn't jeopardize you, nor would we want you, we wouldn't do it to ourselves. And I was like, cool, as long as we're clear and everything's okay, I'll continue with my notice and I'll come and work for Axon. But first 6 weeks was working from home.
Yeah.
And it was good, but I'm such a social creature that it almost killed me.
Yeah, we like all of us, as soon as we were able to sort of start trickling back to work, Tamara sort of wrote to a government organisation and like, well, as long as you got a COVID plan in place and blah, 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 we're like, right, fuck it, let's go back to the office. So we went back to the office for three days a week. So I know that you've really come into the office, mate, and just like your energy and your vibe and your smile and your stories and your, adventures in life, let's just say, of a single mum, which is really, really cool. Tell us about the job now. Tell us about what do you do for our clients and how does it all work, and just sort of give us a bit of a rundown there of the build support role.
Yeah, so I work with Jane. So as you said, I'm a part of your team. So I look after all the clients that you've coached. But I work with Jane. So having a background that I have, working in property and as being a mortgage broker, it's kind of set me up to do this role. I've never worked in house and land packages before. It's not like an area that I worked in before. So when the job came available, I was like, you know what, I want to learn something new as well. So once they've gone through land settlement and they're about to start the build, they come over to me and I just project manage the whole entire process.
Yeah.
So as far as, working directly with the broker or the lender and then working with the builder, and I'm literally just the middleman. So they're just to hold people's hands, send them claims, give them updates, and just make sure that everything's kind of moving on a timely manner as well.
Yeah.
But it just means that, being like, I understand the workload that all of our clients are dealing with on a daily basis. They don't have to worry about it. It's literally an email or a text message from me periodically when I need to, or sometimes I just reach out and have a chat because that's what I do. Project management side.
Yeah. Have a chat with Nat. Was your Instagram back in the day, wasn't it?
That was my nickname when I was in high school. Mum, you'll like that one. Mum was watching. Say, hey, Mum.
And what about just give people a bit of an understanding of the scale of work you do? Like how many builds you got going on at the moment that have not had the keys handed over and depreciation report done, but have just had land settlement? What's the sort of scope there?
Oh, God, I think it's about 30 at the moment, like 25 to 30.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, look, we're really lucky that the builders that we work with are just fantastic. And, anyone that has started, at least from the deposit stage anyway, through like starting at the slab, we get a weekly update. So we get a weekly update. I don't know, Jay and I keep you guys informed of, where the builds are at. But yeah, look, it gets busy. At the moment, I've got another property that's going to be handed over tomorrow. We only listed it yesterday just due to some cleaning things. We didn't get some photos taken quite yet, just to make sure it looked, perfect.
Yeah.
And already there's eight people already registered to go view the property tomorrow. So
I'll come back to the rental stuff in a minute.
Clients.
Yeah,
my one day only. That's my track.
I know you're a super. I'll come back to that stuff in a minute. I want to finish on that because it's certainly you have taken that department of my team, especially Jane's already a superstar in it to the next level. So you've got, let's say, 30 clients, and there's 6 steps of the build process. There's probably half a dozen key steps before they actually start the build, and then all the referrals to the building inspectors and the insurers and the depreciation report and the et cetera, and the property manager. So there's 10 steps towards the end there. So there's probably 40 steps for each client minimum. And you've got 30 so you've got 120 balls in the air at any one time. So ladies and gents, I'm just giving you an understanding now of the project management and the organization and literally the skill and desire to make all that shit happen day after day after day. And then people just ringing up randomly and asking a question and wanting to move in early and having complaints about stuff because I saw a fucking spot of paint on a bit of carpet. Got it. We'll get it fixed. But mate, your world is a very, very hectic one, isn't it?
It does. Look, I love it because I'm a bit of an organizational freak anyway, and I like being in control. Definitely a control freak. So it's a perfect match for me because I thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I'm not going to say busy. I'll say productive.
Good on you.
There's, it's my day kind of consists of actioning emails in the morning.
Yeah.
And then kind of getting to tasks in the afternoon, because as you said, it's one thing to, kind of working on the emails that come through, but there's all the referrals that we do as well. So there's so many steps that are a part of it. And, it's a testament to you and Tamara for setting the business up so well, is that we've got the processes in place that nothing gets missed.
Yeah.
It's very, very rare that something gets missed. And it's just the program and the way that we do it and the steps. Yeah. Again, coming from the military and leaving such a long time ago, I missed that and I craved that structure and that process. Good. Because it is, as military people, it's just drummed into our heads that this is just the way it is. Don't deviate from the plan. This is the goal. Make it happen.
Process. Yeah, 100%. Dane, can I switch across to you, bud? Because, as someone that's come into the business that wasn't a client of ours, when we're explaining this build support concept to you throughout the sort of, the way there, how have you sort of seen it, evolve over the last 6-7 months that you've been with us? Probably longer. I'll never fucking get that right. I don't even know how old your kids are, Dan. I'm fucking terrible with that sort of stuff. But how have you sort of seen the work and the persistence and the outcome that the build support girls, get? Because you've got Jane on your team at the moment, yeah?
Yeah, I guess like you said, I wasn't a client prior to coming in, so everything to me was foreign when I first started. Like I hadn't heard of coaching sessions, I hadn't heard what property specialists did, bill support and everything like that. I realised very quickly how integral bill support is in the process. It's probably one of the most important parts of the process that we do have someone who's a designated project manager of that section. So I think having Nat come on, I gave you a few shout outs, Nat, when you first came on.
You did.
I just knew when you
though, Dane. You need to get back onto that, please.
Yeah, where's
there's too many people now. I can't, but just when you first came in, your personality was like a perfect fit for that. Like you said, I was an organizational freak and I love that sort of stuff. And that is imperative when you're doing that because that's what it is. Organizing, being one step ahead of everybody else and being in the know, right? And you have to have a certain personality to do that. And you and Jane definitely have that, which is awesome. But yeah, integral, mate. Absolutely integral.
And Dan, what about you, mate? I remember when you first started 3 and a bit years ago, you and I built the front end of Active Campaign where we do from, discovery session through to land settlement. And then we built the back end as well with another lovely lady who was Sharon, who was working with us back in the day. So you've really, really seen and contributed greatly to the whole build support experience. Just sort of give everyone a bit of awareness about what you've observed and, certainly how you've seen that come in to contribute as well.
Yeah. I suppose the biggest thing for me, and this is something that most other people don't see, like if you're on the other side of the mirror, but both Nat and Jane are like the biggest protected mamas you've ever seen. Like their clients, they're like, they shield them from the shit. They allow them to see what they need to see. And they also give clients a little bit of leash as they need to be. But from the perspective of, that's his way of leading, teaching, and guiding and mentoring them through the entire process. But I tell you what, if anyone from the outside thinks that it's a good idea to try to shortcut shit or do anything dodgy. Like, you've got these two gatekeepers that are like, stay away from our awesome clients, and basically, get into protected mum mode as well. That's the way I see it, as they just want to nurture people through that entire journey. And there's circumstances where it's like, just come with me, hold my hand, and I'll guide you through this.
Yeah.
And that's part and parcel of it.
Do you remember sitting down with a couple of people yesterday for lunch? One of the builders took us out for lunch, and we were talking about, the amount of work that they have to do, because every other firm in this space just gets the clients at EOI or land settlement, and they're like, there's the builder, that's the point of contact. Bye. Like, you fucking idiots. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, because how is it that someone's going to get to the end of the build and then go, oh, who was that guy back at Axon we spoke to fucking 6 months ago? Maybe I should give them a call. No. It doesn't fucking work like that. Yeah. So, and they were saying this is a builder who's been going since the 1960s, one of Australia's largest and most longest running building. And they're like, every time we have a team meeting, every time we're talking about process, every time we want to improve stuff, someone brings up the Axon Build Support ladies and went, hey, I'm working with Jane and Nat. They do it this way. Why don't we give it a go? So you're literally, like, the efforts that you and Jane are having are resonating, Nat, across the industry, which is such a great testament to you.
Yeah, it's
wow. Thank you, guys. That's really lovely. And look,
I forgot to tell you yesterday, because I walked in and went straight to a meeting, and now I'm telling you in front of the world.
Yeah.
No, Jane and I love it. We thrive of it. And when we get to the end of the build, and it's actually quite funny. So I sat down and did a coaching session. I've done one with you, Robbie, and I've done one with Dane now.
Right.
And we're probably a little bit more in depth with Dane, because you and I just kind of talked about personal situation, and you kind of gave me a bit more. He kind of went through more of the client facing what you do during a coaching session. And it was quite interesting to me to see the timeline. You guys might sit with a client for, say, 2 to 4 weeks or whatever it is. The property specialists are with them for, I think it was 26 weeks or something. Was correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, depending on.
Jane and I are with our clients for 6 months, and you literally become friends with them, because you are talking to them almost on a weekly basis. And we do become very protective over our clients. I feel like sometimes we're like a duck on water. We might look, really cool and calm, but underneath we're like, and that's only because we want everything to go to plan. Like, we ultimately want our clients to have a great experience with us and not have to, worry about the minor details. That's our job. That's why you work with us, because we want to do it and we love it. Like, Jane and I, we actually thoroughly enjoy it. And when something does go wrong, we look at each other and we're like, oh, this is a bit painful. And then when we have our amazing clients that we sit at the end of the build coaching session, and they're like, we spoke to Caitlin today, as you said earlier, and she's a very honest lady, and I love her. Caitlin, if you're watching. Yeah. And we said to her, I was like, is there one thing, like, please be brutally honest, is there one thing, feedback that you can give us so we can use it to grow, not to, Robbie, you say stab your friends in the front, not the back or something?
Yeah, I'll say good friends stab you in the front. They'll tell it to you.
And she was like, I've got nothing. And I'm like, what? And she's like, it was just perfect. And their situation is incredible. They've had an amazing journey, and it's just worked out so perfectly. And to work with James every day as well, obviously I get to be a part of his life, which is, it's fantastic. Yeah. But we love it. This is why we do it, and the end goal is to get the most amazing tenants in your property for the longest period of time. Yeah. And get that rental return and pay off your mortgage, and then work towards, your long-term strategy on growing your wealth so you can retire and be fat and rich and happy.
I love it how you're always inside my OODA loop. I was going to how am I going to link this last little bit? We've got about 5 minutes to go. One of the three, so from everyone wants to get inside my OODA loop a bit more. The 3 ongoing priorities that I, as the owner of the firm, have, ongoing means that it's not year-to-year priorities, they just fucking exist forever, is our reputation and our standing within the market, right? What's going on in the finance space, so Dan, Dane, and I, as the coaches, can put together the right structure that's going to be feasible and not put someone in fucking financial stress. And the third ongoing priority that I have across all the different departments of the business is how someone's experience go throughout the build, and especially at the end when they find tenants. So let's talk about that for a second, Nat, because as I sort of intimated before, you've really, in my opinion, taken that to the next level. Because here's the thing, ladies and gents, only a landlord knows how a landlord feels. And you've not only been in the property industry, Nat, but you've also held property in previous lives, etc. yourself. So I guess I just tell people about how you feel and the importance you place on working closely with the property manager, doing things in a smart, and sort of coherent way to get a tenant within a week, not fucking 6 weeks. Go for it.
And look, yeah, exactly that. You're just spot on. I have been an investor myself, and it's something that I'm looking to do again in the future, in the very close future. And you guys know that very well. And yeah, look, I like to think of it this way. Oh, thanks, Renee. Love you too.
Renee Fordyce.
Love you guys. They finished their build, so I'm like, I miss you so much.
Yeah, I know. You guys used to talk all the time.
Yeah, look, it's one thing to have an amazing build experience, and that's going to happen regardless because, again, you set the business up in a way that we only work with, fantastic builders that come through with the goods. Yep. But really, that last little piece is getting the tenants signed up for 12-month lease, but not just any tenant. It has to be the perfect tenant, and we're so lucky that we work with who we work with, our property managers, and they are above and beyond the most amazing, caring people that they sometimes care for our clients just as much as we do. But we've got to have the right tenants paying the right amount of rent. Otherwise, it doesn't matter about how amazing the build went. It doesn't matter about the light fittings. If they don't have someone in there paying the mortgage, that's going to be their end, their last kind of feeling on it. Yeah. And the way that we've got it set up is that, it's kind of, besides COVID down in Victoria, which wasn't a bad experience really because our clients still came out in really good positions. Jane and I generally, and I'm going to say, I think our average at the moment is 6 days to find a tenant.
The whole calendar year. We've had over 100 builds come to market this year, and the 6 days is the average after key handover through COVID. Like, ladies and gents, go find someone else who's running those stats and try and beat it. Like, it's just not happening. It's literally, I call it military style precision and planning and execution when it matters at the back end of the build. Yeah. Because here's the thing, Dan and Dane, we literally have these conversations. Like, I'll go back to the very first 2 minutes of the call, Dane, where I know you're loving being part of the, people's inculcation into the business now, not only from a mindset perspective, but the peace of mind they get like working with a team. If you want to go do it yourself, you could probably find the right location and you could probably, bloody find the right package. But when you drag yourself down into the vortex of being your own project manager and working with the builder, like when Dan was saying that the girls shield you from the shit and just tell you about the stuff you need to know, no wonder people fucking hate building houses because they get dragged down into bloody dealing with the builder's construction team. And if the builder is not very, not a very high standing builder, they'll be like, these fuckers don't know what they're doing. I'll tell you what, let's use a different material over there. They won't fucking know. And it's just a mug's game trying to project manage the build of a house, especially for those people in defense, because you're getting pulled from pillar to post, short notice shit all the time. And as soon as someone's not managing your project, guess what's happening with your project? It's fucking going backwards. That's what's happening. So, I love the fact that, the peace of mind and the support, CJ Wynn's got a comment there. When you experience the buy-in or investment from everyone at Axon, you can just see and feel the difference. It's not just the business, it's people who actually care. And as I just sort of finish up here for the last minute or so, that lovely lady, Alicia, that I spoke about earlier, she's just jumped on. I only met Robbie today and watched my first live session now. It's like a little family keen to start my journey with Axon. I told you the story earlier, Alicia, and I showed you a little photo. So, yeah, mate, you're doing the right thing. And, you're going to speak to Natalie down the track, and we don't even know what your plan looks like, which is pretty exciting. All right, Dane, final words from you, buddy. How was tonight's session?
Awesome, man. I loved having you on, Nat. You did an unreal job. I know you were talking all day. I'm nervous and, mate, smashed it out of the park.
So good. Dan?
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I suppose from me, public service announcement. We won't be here next week.
Yes, good one.
Oh,
sorry.
Thanks for remembering. Thanks for remembering that.
Week in December.
How's this? We're going away for our annual planning trip. No, it's not Hawaii this year for they've been following us for long enough, but it is somewhere fucking decent. And we get so engrossed in what we're talking about, I forgot to tell everyone about it. But that's all right.
Don't worry. There's going to be loads of stuff put up on our page. So if you have a look at that stuff, there'll be more than there's going to be more than an hour's worth of content.
You'll be hearing lots from us. All right, Nat, as we close up right on 19:30, buddy, how was tonight's session? Did you enjoy that?
Amazing. I loved it. Thanks for having me on. As I said, like I love working with the team that we've got, the culture and the guys that I get to work with on a daily basis, and girls now, heaps more girls, which is great.
Yeah, it is.
The team we've got is awesome, and the clients are even more amazing. So I'm honoured and thankful to be here. So Robbie, after many years of begging you, thank you for letting me be here with Axon family and here tonight.
Mate, I say thank you and give you plenty of public praise all the time. We're the ones that's grateful that you're in our life, and ultimately it's our clients' lives that we need to be grateful for, because everyone loves you and you're doing an amazing job. So yeah, thank you so much for that. So there you go, Haley. I know you're watching. You're out of ISO tomorrow morning. We're going to meet for the first time tomorrow morning. You're going to come and sit next to Nat in between Jane and Nat tomorrow. We welcome you to the office. And guess what? Early next year, you're going to sit in Nat's shoes and go, I remember when I was watching this in ISO, and now I've been here for 6 months and I can tell my own story. All right. Love you all. It's a great Jeff Phoenix says. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for listening in. See you later, team.